So today I just really want to talk about anime and manga for a little bit, or like a specific trait that animes and mangas share. One of two traits that they share. Most of them, a lot of them, specifically in the realm that I kind of am a purveyor in. Like me, all my childhood, me and my brothers, we've been anime fans. Um, all our childhoods. I was little when I got into anime. DBZ, you know what I'm saying? It's been out since before I was born. And I've loved it since I was little. First anime. And it's still top 3 anime to me. Most other animes, even ones that aren't action adventure, are just trying to be Dragon Ball Z, some way, shape, or form. But I mainly like to stay in the action adventure. That's why DBZ is still so high. I mainly like to stay in the action adventure. Eventually, I got into reading the mangas. I will stray out of action adventure. I've watched some horror anime. I've watched some slice of the life anime. You know, I've adventured. I've watched the isekais, where the guy gets transported into a different world. Those are isekais. I've read a lot of manga. I've watched a lot of anime, and there are one of two things I noticed in most anime, right? That kind of, for me in my life today, makes me not watch it as often. All of my friends, like I said, and my brothers, all love anime. And anime is more popular today than it has ever been in my entire life. So I'm constantly being asked, hey, have you watched this anime? Hey, have you watched this anime? Hey, have you read this manga? When me personally, I haven't been fully off anime because I still watch the ones I really like. But I don't really get into new anime and mangas like that. I don't look forward to any new ones. And unless someone like Solo Leveling, it took a lot of people to convince me to watch Solo Leveling. It did. It took a very nice young kid who used to come when I was a server. It was a very nice young kid who used to come talk to me about anime, who really, really wanted me to watch Reincarnated as a Slime. That took me to get into watching that, you know. I'm just at a point in my life where, like, I still watch it. Anime, for a long time, was the best way to get a story in media. Today, there might be gaming, but anime had that crown for a while. So I still watch old animes for the lessons they teach, for the stories they tell. Now I'm blabbling. But even the ones I love, right? Even the ones I love, and the reason it's so hard for me to get into them today. If you ever watch any of the music reviews I do, especially today in my life, how things start and how things end are very important to me. As a wannabe storyteller, you know what I'm saying? I actually want to write out fictional stories and have them publicized or put them out in some type of way. I actually want to do that. I rap. It's a form of storytelling. I'm not a master storyteller, nowhere near it. But it's something I like to do, and something I'm okay at. And now I'm saying all the time, and it's something I'm okay at. There's another one, too. What I'm trying to get at is beginnings and endings are very important to me, right? I will never watch Game of Thrones because I didn't watch it while it was on TV, and I know 85 to 90% of the people that watch Game of Thrones hated the ending. I loved the first season of Game of Thrones. I hated the second season. And most people hate the ending. So for me, I'm not, even if I like a lot of the stuff in the middle, I'm not going to go through all of that to set myself up for a terrible ending. My favorite anime right now is One Piece. For years, I've been dreading the end of One Piece because most anime either take forever to start or are incredibly difficult to get into, right? They take, like, you have to get through so many chapters of nothing for the story to actually start. Or, in the case that I'm afraid of for One Piece, which actually, One Piece actually falls in that too, that first one, category 2, where if you weren't a bright-eyed little kid that got into One Piece when it first started, it's really, like, the first couple of chapters are kind of, you know, they're okay. You know, they're okay. They're just okay. It's hard to get into. And then you have to worry about how long the anime is, but I'm getting off track. What I'm afraid about One Piece is it's not going to stick the landing. It's built itself up so it's built itself and its world and its story up so well, that it's not gonna stick the landing. Whatever we get as an ending, some people are gonna be okay with it. I promise you it'll be divisive. I promise you half of the people won't like it. 'Cause that's just how animes go. Most anime either take forever to get started, or they completely botch the ending, and they fumble at the end. And that's it, at least in the action adventure and the few that I've seen outside of action adventure. Because I'm not a big watcher of anything that's not action adventure. I've crept outside of the genre, but it's mainly action adventure. I like the battle, right? But when I think about even all of my favorite anime, like I said, One Piece is probably my favorite. I don't like saying it's my favorite because it's not over, and I know there is a high probability they're gonna botch the ending. But it's my favorite anime, if I'm being for real. That and Full Metal Alchemist. But at least Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has come and gone, and it's done, right? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, one reason I love it is because it is the rare exception to both those rules. Brotherhood gets started immediately, right? Not only does it get started immediately, the ending isn't super terrible. It's not the best ending of all anime. No, far from it. But it is a good ending for the story it told. And then and everything in between from the start and the middle is really good. And you get a bunch of different variety in that one, right? It's great storytelling. If you've never watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, go watch it. It is, to me, it is my favorite anime that has come and gone, that has started and finished. But when I think about animes that take forever, like I think about Black Clover. I like Black Clover a lot. Black Clover takes forever to get really started, for you to get into the story they're trying to tell. You spend, and I get it. Part of the reason anime is so good at storytelling is you get attached to a lot of the characters, right? So a lot of the time in the beginning, you're spending a lot of the time with the characters before the plot gets started. And that can be boring because the plot is not happening. I do understand that, but it's so prevalent in so many animes where you kind of have to sit through, and even if it's like 3 or 4 episodes in some cases before it gets started, in a lot of cases it's a whole arc where you have to go through the whole arc before the real plot gets started, because you have to build up the character, or you have to get them to where they can take on the plot, right? But it's even the ones where it doesn't feel long, where it's like 3 or 4 episodes, those episodes are so slow that it just feels like a drag, that it feels like work. Another one to me that falls into both categories, a lot of people like Attack on Titan. I think it's just okay. I think Attack on Titan is slightly above mid, because outside of Aaron's mom dying, this shit is boring until you really get to go with them to find what's going on with the Titans, right? When they join the military and go fight Titans or discover the secrets behind Titans. But until you get there, and it's been forever since I watched the first season of Attack on Titan. That could be like 6 or 7 episodes, which if you list them off, that's not that long. But in an anime that's 24 episodes, 6 of your episodes are nothing. If you're like me, like I said, and today I don't have the time to just sit through 6 episodes of nothing to try and get into your anime. So I think Black Clover takes forever. I think One Piece takes forever. I'm trying to remember back. I think Fire Force took a little while for me to get into, because just nothing happens. Nothing happens. And then what's more prevalent in anime are the animes that start off good and tell a great story, but have terrible endings. Terrible endings, or they just don't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dragon Ball Z is still going. I love Dragon Ball Z. Why is it still going? Naruto is technically 3 separate animes, but it's still, the same thing with Dragon Ball Z. Technically, they're 3 separate animes. They're still going. They're still going. Why? Why are the stories not over? Because you have to, for a good story to be a good story, it has to end, and it has to be a good ending. If you keep it going forever for the sake of money, or for the sake of just because you don't want to leave the story, you risk what both of those animes are doing, ruining the story. Super's pretty good, but we're at the point now where who the fuck are Goku and Vegeta gonna fight? Like, we let Jiren get away alive, but we know by the time Jiren comes back, we're still gonna beat his ass. So what's the point of following Goku and Vegeta if even if they will get their ass beat in the first fight, they're gonna train and beat the guy's ass every arc. You know what I'm saying? Even if they know, and most of the times they know, they get their ass beat. One or both of them gets their ass beat first. They figure out, oh, we gotta train to beat this guy. Then they beat the guy. Every arc of Dragon Ball Z. It was cool when you did it the first 3 times. It was cool when you go back. For me, I had to go back in Dragon Ball and watch it happen. GT was just GT. I like GT more for the content that we get in the games than the actual show GT. Naruto, the original Naruto is great. Shippuden is good up until the Ninja War. Shippuden specifically is a terrible ending. And it leads into Boruto, which Boruto takes forever. Now, if you read the manga, Boruto gets going right away. But if you watch the anime, you have to go through like 2 or 3 arcs for Boruto to get good. You know what I'm saying? Like, Naruto gets all 3. Not only is it still going, Shippuden had a terrible ending. Boruto takes forever to get going. You know what I'm saying? What else? My Hero Academia, terrible ending. Terrible is harsh, but they botched the ending. JJK, they botched the ending. I love JJK. They botched the ending. Fairy Tail, they botched the ending. Was it okay? It was alright. They botched the ending. Hunter x Hunter, we don't know if that shit'll ever end because they keep taking breaks and writing it. By the time it ends, I don't want to get too worked up and start going off. This wasn't supposed to be me venting, and I think I'm kind of getting to the venting point. But like, my whole thing is I love anime. I love the storytelling in it, and I'm not saying they're not good stories. They're still good stories. But a lot of anime I think are a little, I guess when compared to so many that have the same problem, I get it. But as a medium, as a way to experience stories, I don't know, it's become a little overrated because in games, yes, I can play a game and it can have that same problem, right? But it's very less likely to come across. Every game with a every single player action game that has a consistent story doesn't really have that problem. They teach you the controls, you get into it. If you like the story, you're gonna like it right away, and hopefully you like the ending. It's not guaranteed a game will have a good ending, but if you like the game long enough to get to the ending, you most likely didn't feel like it took you half the runtime to get into it. I joke with people that it takes 50 episodes to get into Black Clover. Sorry, I think I had some camera difficulties, whatever. I'm gonna hurry up and get out of here before my camera actually craps out on me. But I just wanted to get that out and see what ideas other people had about it. Do you have the same thoughts as me? Do most anime and manga you watch either take forever to get into and then tell you a pretty good story, or tell you a pretty good story and completely botch the ending? Let me know.